you've made no secret over the last few months about the fact you've been looking either for new investment or to sell the club. And there's been a lot of rumour and speculation. So what's the latest situation?
Yeah, I think these times always create rumour and speculation, and as everyone knows, and I've spoken to the media this week about we won't respond to rumour and speculation, but the truth is these situations are sort of fluid and moving, and we've been very open about the fact that we would welcome new investment and even a potential sale, and I think we talked about that in the summer. I've probably not been as communicative as normal because these situations don't always allow that, and you always want to make an announcement when you've got some information. But I thought it was about time that I said something and brought fans up to speed a little bit. And we are talking to various groups, but probably 3 groups now that are interested in coming involved in the football club and seeing how they can help and etc. So all those discussions are ongoing, varied, different levels of investment, different levels of involvement, and we've got to make sure we continue those. And the key is always it has been from the start, and the reason we're even having these discussions is what's in the best interest of the football club. And I talked in the summer about myself, David and Mike as well, in terms of energy levels and other commitments and etc. So it's very important that we find the right group or right party to have that sort of energy, and the finances in place, obviously important, but the energy in the football club is also important.
So until or unless any deal is completed, then is it business as usual for the club? And the one question I guess people will always ask is the club secure?
Oh yeah, absolutely, unequivocally. We've always said that the club would never be in the situation that we picked it up in. So obviously, I think we'll probably talk about results, but results haven't been what we wanted at the start of this season, and we'll go on to that. But that hasn't affected what's happening off the pitch. That hasn't affected the club. We're funded. We've made decisions in the summer that probably kept that level of funding increased rather than decreased, and we would have hoped we were hoping for improvements on the pitch in terms of results, but that will come, and we will talk about that. But in the meantime, there's even people who have made ridiculous statements about running out of money and administration, that kind of stuff. It's their typical rumour mill stuff that happens at this time. When results don't go the way, or there is speculation, and it's just made up, basically, some of that stuff. So that's why you don't focus on the forums or social media, because the reality is a little bit different to what's sometimes said.
Moving on to other matters, the Borough Council Cabinet have approved the process to regulise the East Stand leases. Where are we with that process, and is there any future timescale on it? Yeah,
there's no timescale on that. In terms of that conversation, I think the trust came on to us last week, and I think they put out a statement. And there is a frustration, and there's empathy for that frustration. But the reality is, there's positive conversations are going on with George and his team now. I think the council got a new chief exec, George Chandler, and it's been very good since he's come on board. And with his team, we are having discussions. Obviously, there's also a reality that our other discussions in terms of the club and investment, that it gets rolled into that. So it would be unrealistic for us and unrealistic for anyone to think, and I don't know if anyone's thinking that way, that suddenly we get the right approvals and suddenly the build starts the next day when we're in the middle of discussions about investment and purchase, because other people coming in may have different commercial ideas about what plans are and what they want to do with the stand, and we appreciate that, and they do formulate part of our discussions with other groups. We've got our own ideas. We've got plans in place. The trust have seen those plans. In a couple of meetings ago, the council have seen those plans. It's pretty straightforward, and realistically, they're not dissimilar to what we talked about 2.5 years ago at a fans forum. I think there was a misconception, obviously, and I tried to at the time say it. There was a misconception that the approval from cabinet was the green light just to go ahead and build. Well, that wasn't necessarily the case. The approval at cabinet was for the officers to go ahead and complete the legal paperwork, which we're doing. And one of the things that David and I and Mike have committed to is to ensure that the club is as clean and as healthy as possible if we do pass it on or somebody does come in for investment. So that includes the leases and the land and the club's position there, and it's very important. And as we said at the time, what we're trying to do is trying to ensure that the football club has the land that it should have had in the first place. And we've said numerous times now that we've been surprised and disappointed and about the quality of the leases and how they were done back in before our time, and that was at the detriment to the football club in certain ways. So we're just now trying to rectify that position.
On to the actual football then, and at the moment, so many of the club's teams are flying at the top of their league. And how frustrating with that in mind is it that the first team, which is, of course is how most people view the club, haven't yet been able to achieve the results we're all hoping for?
I think there's a reality that everyone's disappointed, everyone's frustrated, and we feel that just as much as anybody else. There's no hiding from the fact. I don't think Dean or the players are hiding from the fact that results haven't gone as well. I get a lot of messages and I've seen the games and which say that the performances have been better, and I think they have, especially at the start of the season. And possibly the last couple haven't been up to the levels that Dean would have wanted. But I know he's looking to make a couple of changes and look at things a little bit differently. And we need to make sure we get the performances and the results, but most importantly the results that start to come. We made some decisions in the summer from an ownership point of view in terms of players and keeping players rather than selling them off and changing and making massive changes to the squad, and we're looking for that to hopefully to get some return on that in terms of results. It's frustrating, it's disappointing. I think we all feel it. Everybody in the club feels it, and Dean and the players have now got they're working hard to ensure that it turns around. As you say, everything else at the club, and that's what happens with football. If your first team isn't winning, then everything seems terrible. But the club is, the club out off the pitch and etc. is thriving, and the commercial team have done a wonderful job with the results and still selling things around the club. The link between education, youth development, and even the first team squad is probably the best it's been. Players coming through, players being involved. Everything is good in that way. We just need to get a couple of results on the pitch.
We'll come on to the youth team and the player pathway shortly, but one of the teams who are enjoying success at the moment, Northampton Town Ladies, staged a very successful game at the PTS Academy Stadium last Sunday. The development and progress of that team was a real source of pride. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I've always been a big supporter of the women's football, and unfortunately I wasn't able to be at the game, but I heard it was a fantastic event, and it was one of the commitments we made is to ensure that we integrated the women's team into the club as much as possible, and hopefully they feel part of it by playing on the pitch, and it's important for us. There's been the education, the community side of the club has put a lot of investment into the women's game, and we've helped as much as we can, and it's very encouraging.
Another team on top of their league, the youth team, the top of the tree in the academy process, if you like. The youth team and the academy are an area of the club that's certainly flourishing. Yeah,
and as I said, it's important not to forget that how well the club is doing off, in other areas, and we. Whilst all the focus is normally in one area, we have to keep our eyes open and make sure that the future's safe, and we've got players coming through, and we lost Trevor obviously from the academy in terms of retirement, but we're very thankful for what he did and very thankful for him still being around, and that process is ongoing. James and the team there have met a few people already, and I think in the next sort of a short period of time we'll have somebody capable of filling Trevor's shoes, and John's doing a great job, and all the guys and the girls in the academy are doing a fantastic job in bringing our young players through.
The football and education programme is going from strength to strength. Quite a key signing last week, Scott Pollock coming through from that programme to sign a full-time scholarship, really showing that players can progress through that pathway. Absolutely.
I think I was quite involved 10 yeyears ago now in some of the development of the BTEC programme when I was involved in Oxford, and it does fill you with pride when you see kids come through and fans enjoy it, and I know he stepped into the UT. I think he scored a couple of goals, and it's important that there is that link, and it's important there is that sort of closeness. I know Dean was talking to the BTEC group only a couple of weeks ago about the importance of the link and the importance of them as players coming through. So and our education again has gone from strength to strength. It's a big part of what we do. And St Crispin's site, if people haven't seen it, is a fantastic site, and credit to James and the team there to secure that, and I think they're enjoying the experience there.
I know I can't say too much about specifics at the moment, but to sort of underline the programme is the football and education programme. I think we're expecting a royal visit in the future, which is a massive sort of underlining of the work and the impact that the club are having.
Yeah, again, it's a theme of what we talk about in terms of what's happening off the pitch and in different areas of the club, and absolutely the recognition that the Gene and the team there in terms of the education need, is really, really impressive, and it's something that they need to, enjoy and take and bringing players through. That the key is that program is. It's not just bringing players through, but it's the educational opportunities that these kids have that they might not have had in different areas of their lives, and they may then take that into a university program, or with our partners, hopefully at University of Northampton, or other universities that suit their needs, and so there is that player pathway, but there's also that education pathway, and hopefully we're shaping and helping create better lives, as it were.
Finally, Kelvin, announced this week there's an event coming up on November the 1st that we've covered here, a whole range of ups and downs involving Northampton Town, and 5 legends, I think you'd call them, who have experienced plenty of highs and lows at the Cobblers. Graham Carr, Ray Warburton, Ian Sampson, Neil Grace and Andy Woodman coming down for a dinner with it. Should be a great evening.
Yeah, it should be a great evening. The truth is, any time Wood is involved, it's normally entertained anyway. But no, I've known Woody for a while, and grew up in and around. One of my really good friends who lives out in New Zealand is a very good friend of Woody too. So we grew up in the same area. So it'd be good to see him, and obviously the other guys, in and around the club a little bit anyway. And it's always good to catch up. And Samo does some of the radio, and also with Graham, Graham's a great support, and it's fantastic what Graham's done for the club in the past, and it's actually fantastic what he does now in terms of, and he's a great support for me personally, and it's good for him when he comes to games, and he's always there with some interesting information, or just a little bit of support, etc. So it should be a good event, and again, it's something to look forward to. We'll get the results going hopefully, and we'll have a bit of a celebration on the night.